Look out, y'all. Ashy Knuckles. Um, Next morning, 'cause I couldn't do a post fight video last night, man. I was we got it in over here, man. God, dog. We had I've still got bottles and bottles and bottles downstairs. A lot of people, big turnout, big turnout. We was playing dominoes. Some people were playing pool. Usually the women folks stay downstairs, play spades, talk loud, everybody be lying to each other. Your typical party, you know what I'm saying? It was going down. We had fish and shrimp. We had this rice. I don't even know what it's called, but it's not dirty rice. It looked like dirty rice. We had gumbo. It was tight. Big turnout, man. Everybody came over. It was cool. I got some footage of that too. Well, at least before I got too drunk. But anyway, this was a super fight of our time. The Joe Louis Max Schmeling, the Ali Frazier of our time. This is Pacquiao versus Mayweather, and I thought it was a very good fight. I thought it could have been more action packed, but I really did not expect Pacquiao to miss his target so much in the fight because he was active. He was letting his hands go, but I just never thought that he would. We're used to seeing Floyd make his opponents miss, reducing their work rate down to a minimum and frustrating them. Angles, 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 angles. They keep saying he running, but he's right in front of these guys, and all he doing is doing a full pivot out of the way. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like he was just boxing and moving around the whole ring. All he was doing was moving out of the way of the shots and getting right back in front of you. Like, all right, reset, round. We're back at square one again. Now what? And I could tell after round two of the fight, everybody looked at me like I was crazy because I said real loud, I said, fight over. Not because it was a knockout on the way, but because the way Pacquiao was fighting him with distance, trying to outbox him, trying to find that target, come in with a volley of shots. I say it all the time. Trying to outbox Mayweather, you will lose that fight. It's the same thing when he fought Canelo after round two. I said the same thing. Fight over. When it comes down to being a cerebral fighter, a thinking man's game, you're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? Already. Now, of course, the possibility of Pacquiao landing a meaningful shot and getting him out of there is always there. I mean, Pacquiao is Pacquiao. The things that they have hyped him for over the years is what he does. Pacquiao's Pacquiao. The speed is there. The punching power, it's there. He hurt Mayweather in round 4 and round 6. But you're not going to get more than one shot in at a time. Mayweather will weather the storm. And at both times when he stunned Mayweather covered up. And, Pacquiao unleashed a barrage of punches to no avail. The dude is brilliant, man. The dude, what he does in the ring is brilliant, man. The dude isn't just a guy who has excellent footwork. The dude has a defense that is just out of this world. And I'm going to tell you like this. If Mayweather would let his hands go even more, my God, can you imagine Mayweather if he let his hands go more, or if Mayweather had more power, he'd be the closest, well, he is the closest thing unbeatable. But I think he would just be, they'd probably make him the best fighter of all time if he can actually just stamp boys out of there with 1 or 2 shots or a good combination. But we all know he's been trouble with hand. He's had hand troubles for the bulk of his career, so he's not letting his hands go like a Pacquiao would, or a Keith Thurman, or Amir Khan. Amir Khan has a high work rate because these are your tools in the ring. And once these go, that's it. I mean, you have to preserve your body in order to have longevity. And Malignaggi will tell you, because he had hand problems since he turned pro. He had busted up his hands in fights that he won. You know, he took the glove off, you seeing blood all through the gauze and the tape. So, but at the anyway, the fight. I saw some key things from Pacquiao that really impressed me. He was timing Mayweather's jab a couple of times. He came over the top with the left hand. I thought that was great. You know, I saw him do it a little bit against Algieri, but I never gave Pacquiao his credit for being able to do that. Credit Pacquiao. He did that. Popped Mayweather in his mouth a couple of times with some good lefts because he went over the top of that jab. That was excellent. But at the end of the day, Manny Pacquiao's an in and out, shoot, 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 in and out. And it just didn't work. You know, Mayweather kept turning him, kept turning him, kept turning him. Mayweather could have made the fight a little bit more easier had he just stayed to his left, but you know, Mayweather kept going right, kept going left. But if you go left, it's been proven that he has a hard time finding you. But to his credit, every time Mayweather pivoted out of the way, he pivoted to his left. Well, he's a conventional fighter. That's the only way you can pivot. You can't pivot. Well, I guess you can pivot to your right, but you have a good likelihood of getting clipped if they come in with a good shot. But you pivot off the same foot you throw your hook with. So there's a way to get out of the way by going to your right. You can duck under and move to your right, but when you pivot, you usually should pivot off of your jab foot, your lead foot. But anyway, I thought Pacquiao also was making it difficult for Mayweather to go over the top of his jab. Pacquiao was leading with the straight left, which I thought was a little different because Pacquiao usually put the rangefinder out there, and you know then he comes with the thunder, you know. But you know I can really say that Freddie Roach and Pacquiao really did their homework. I'm saying that for a lot of fighters now, they are watching that tape of Mayweather. They are really trying to figure out how to get this guy out of there. You know, it's just when you think he's going left, he's going right. When you think he's going up, he's going down. You know, you think square, it's circle. You know what I'm saying? It's just you think 1, it's 8. You know, it's hard to figure that guy out, man. He's a very cerebral fighter, very very intelligent fighter. Just got he has the whole game assessed in his mind. And Pacquiao brought it though, man. Like I said before, I've never seen Pacquiao miss his target so much in a fight. I've seen plenty of fighters miss their target when they're in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, but Pacquiao is Pacquiao. Pacquiao hand speed is just unreal, and he was letting them fly, but he was not landing them mugs, man. It was tripping me out. I had to watch it again this morning just to make sure I saw what I saw last night. But Mayweather, he dictated behind the jab. He was very sharp with the crisp straight right, straight right to the body, even jab to the body. But Pacquiao was trying to time that jab to the body with a right hook. That's a very good, effective counterpunch. But you know, when you in the ring with somebody is just as fast as you or faster, you know, it becomes that more difficult to actually land that punch right on the money. Mayweather had a great game plan, and of course you saw his father being, you know, pissed with him, telling him to come back behind that straight right with the hook, which is normally what you tell a fighter. I mean, you usually should follow the right hand with the hook, but what Mayweather was basically by him not doing it, it wasn't that he was just being defiant or not wanting to listen. Mayweather was basically saying, in my opinion, in his own words, in his own nonverbals, is the hook's not there. You know, I'm getting that right hand in. If I throw the left hook, there may be something there for me too. Because that's the thing when you're countering Pacquiao. You can get them 1s in and possibly 2s. But when you try to counter Pacquiao with a combination, he's going to get a punch in between and you're going to get clipped. That's what happened to Miguel Cotto. You know what I'm saying? Miguel Cotto does have good hand speed. When you try to counter Pacquiao with 2s and 3s, he got something for you because that's a little tough, small. He's small, but that's a little tough motherfucker. He'll take them 1s and 2s and get his in because he know once he get his in, he gonna make his count. So Mayweather did the smart thing. He was countering in 1s, mostly 1s and 2s. But he wasn't bringing the 3 behind. He wasn't bringing that hook behind. You can forget about that. Or if he countered him with the hook, it was only with the hook. It wasn't with the right and then the hook. You know what I'm saying? He played it safe. You know, he's a cautious fighter. He knew the caliber of fighter he was in the ring with. He know Manny Pacquiao is dangerous from 1 to 12. Manny Pacquiao's condition from 1 to 12, and he just fought a excellent fight, a very very smart fight. He reduced Manny Pacquiao's volume down, made Manny Pacquiao miss over and over and over all fight long. Um, Pacquiao did get some good shots in though, but at the end of the day, Cotto gave Mayweather a much tougher fight. Um, it was the first time they actually saw the caliber of opponent amongst them. You know what I'm saying? Manny Pacquiao never fought nobody like Mayweather. Mayweather never fought nobody like Manny Pacquiao, and I think it was truly a learning experience for both. I think Mayweather understands why Pacquiao has been highly touted through all these years, and that why he's been highly favored by the boxing pundits. And I know Manny Pacquiao, even though I don't know how he thought he won the fight, but I think he understands why Mayweather is Mayweather. It's not that he just overpowers opponents or, you know, he just, beats them down and stuff like that. Well, I mean, he was much more active earlier in his fight career. But it's the nuances, man, that makes Mayweather Mayweather. It's the subtleties, man, the little things that he does. And I think the frustration and being befuddled and being countered over and over and over in the ring with Pacquiao being befuddled, he understands the skill level difference. That's all it is, just a separation in class. It's not that Pacquiao ain't a good fighter or he can't punch or he's not fast enough. He got great attributes, but there is a fine line between skill and attributes. He's fast and got power, but there's a whole lot more to this boxing game than just speed and power. Speed ain't everything. Power ain't everything. I say this. I try to tell you guys this all the time. Power is not everything. Speed is not everything. There's a fine line between skill and attributes. Mayweather is the most skilled fighter. Pacquiao got the best attributes, but at the end of the day, skill won. Skills pays the bills. And he did his thing, man. Mayweather really did his thing. He cemented his legacy. He already had a leg. Hell, when he first retired, he had enough to go to the Hall of Fame, but nobody gave him credit because this is the ducking generation. I remember when they first start saying the hater, the media, because like I said, I never thought he was a media hype fighter. They hated Floyd. You know what I'm saying? When Floyd evicted his dad from his house back when Floyd was at 130 pounds, that's when the assault from the media started, and it never let up since then. They were saying he ducked Stevie Johnson, which wasn't true. How do you duck Stevie Johnson but you fight Castillo? How do you duck Spatafor and Leonard Doran when you're fighting Castillo, the best lightweight in the world? That don't make sense. That's not ducking. You fought a better fighter. You beat a better fighter. You understand? He went to 140. He didn't fight Costa Tszyu, but Costa Tszyu had 2 back-to-back injuries, which is why it took so long for the Charmaine Mitchell rematch, because he kept getting injured, Costa Tszyu. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. A lot of the stuff maybe had merit. Some of the criticisms had merit. I'm sure with his disagreements with Top Rank early in his career, I guess most people felt that's not a reason why you shouldn't have fought top ranked fighters. A lot of people say he was ducking Miguel Cotto at 140, but if you have been around, Miguel Cotto was not the top guy at 140. Miguel Cotto was a prospect in 140 and started to come into his own. They credit him with fighting Kelson Pinto and Muhammad Abdullayev and Ricardo Torres, but those guys built their name off of fighting Miguel Cotto. Those were not the top guys. They were solid contenders, but they were not the top guys. The top guys at 140, and I've been arguing with guys to no avail because they don't listen, because they ain't been around. The top guys were Charmaine Mitchell, Zab Judah, Costa Tszyu. The top contenders, you had Dio Bayless Hurtado. Who was some other top 40 pounders? God damn, it's been so long. Chop Chop was a top contender at that time. Iner Julio, he was a top contender at that time. So all this ducking at one, I just never understood it, because I'm like, how do you just make Muhammad Abdullayev a top guy? He ain't never beat nobody. Sure, he was tough, and yeah, he beat Cotto in amateurs, but he was not a top guy at 140. You know what I'm saying? He was not. Kelson Pinto won a world title that Zab Judah vacated when he left the division. Other than that, Kelson Pinto was nobody. But anyway, I'm not trying to disrespect Cotto and or criticize his legacy or his career. I mean, his career is great. You know, he's had a great career. But I was just trying to give you all a little backdrop because a lot of people only came around in the Miguel Cotto era, and they try to argue with you, but they ain't got no history. A lot of guys came around during the Gotti era. They ain't got no history, but they want to argue and go and get other people that came around at the same time, but you have no history, you know? But anyway, like I was saying before, man. Anyway, it was a excellent display of skill. I thought he won the fight easy. You know, he had some rough patches in there. Mayweather did, but I thought he won the fight quite handily. And I don't know how Pacquiao and them thought they could have won this fight. I mean, I've never seen him miss so much. I mean, he missed and missed and missed and missed. And then, you know, the usual excuse. Oh, he was running, he was running. He wasn't running. If you go back and watch the fight, there were many rounds where Floyd came out walking forward, walking them down. How is that running? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it is your job to neutralize your opponent's best asset. If Mayweather's best asset in this fight was his feet, cut the ring off. You have more foot speed. You know what I'm saying? You probably don't have better footwork, but you're fast enough to chop him down. He goes this way, you go this way. He goes that way, you go that way. You don't follow him around the ring. That's not cutting the ring off. So at the end of the day, man, I thought Mayweather did what he was supposed to do. He kept him at the end of the jab. He timed him with good counter punches. He got good body shots in when he needed to, and he blocked a lot of punches. He didn't necessarily just use primarily the shoulder roll to block the punches. He used a high guard, Customato's peekaboo defense, and I think he just did a real good job, man. He beat Manny Pacquiao, the guy that everybody's saying he was scared, gay runner, you're ducking, he's gonna knock him out. It didn't happen. So I guess evil won. I mean, come on, man. Evil versus good. It was just a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? All the years saying that Mayweather was scared and stuff like that. I don't, you know, that's the difference between real journalism and conjecture. Like I've always criticized the boxing media for. They know what they know, but the rest of the shit they make up. You know what I'm saying? It was always a bunch of bullshit that they were putting out there. And all the new fans that were coming into the sport, they were coming in when they don't know much about the sport. Who do they look to? They look to the media. They read the articles. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they were getting their knowledge. So they were coming in hating on Mayweather, believing that negative energy that the media was putting out there. But it was all opinion based. It was all conjectural. None of it was factual. They would take basically what Bob Arum would say to him at a press conference and write it in an article. Like everything Bob Arum says is the truth. When Bob Arum is a professional liar, he was a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? All because they hated that guy Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it he brought on himself, but at the end of the day, whether you like a fighter or dislike him, if you're gonna cover the sport, you got to cover it straight down the middle. I'm not too fond of Amir Khan. I criticized him early, but Amir Khan earned his stripes with me. You know what I'm saying? By continuing to stay over here, to continue to face good comp. Like, I'm not really too fond of this fight with Algeria. Before y'all jump on me, I ain't fond of that. Check the videos. But he earned his stripes with me. You know, I still give him the credit that he deserves. You know, a lot of people thought that he was going to be beat by Devin. Now they're acting like he's not fighting nobody. See, I told everybody that he would destroy Devin Alexander. I was on Twitter, you know, just talking about it. I don't know why y'all even think this is close. Devin's not winning, you know. But after he beat Devin, instead of giving Amir Khan his credit, they down Devin. That's how fickle the boxing public is, man. They're ready to throw balloons and celebrate when their guy wins, but when their guy loses, they just take credit away from the other guy and say the guy wasn't really about anything. He wasn't a credible opponent. Get the fuck out of here. So Mayweather wins. Let the excuses fly. It's going to be interesting to see and hear all the excuses that's going to come out of this. It's always going to be sour grapes. It never do people, have enough integrity to give the winner the credit. No one goes to training camp to lose. No one goes to all that rigorous sparring and wear and tear on their body to come to the ring and give the fight away. If Pacquiao did not win the fight last night, it's because of what his opponent did to neutralize his best weapons for him to win the fight. That's what happens in boxing. No, what I'm saying? No ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I'm saying? What you saw is what you saw. The guy lost. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather won. Give the credit to the guy who had the better game plan and who was the better fighter that night. At the end of the day, it don't matter who is the better fighter, but it all depends on what happens at night. Mayweather was the better fighter last night. He wins. He moves forward. He's still undefeated. One more fight in September. Bring on Keith Thurman. That's the fight I want to see. I don't want to see Amir Khan. Amir Khan doesn't get a Mayweather fight by fighting Algeria, in my opinion. I don't think he fights Amir Khan. But then again, I could be wrong. That's a tough fight for him, I think, because of styles, not because of Amir Khan being more of a threat than Pacquiao. Pacquiao was more of a threat than basically damn near everybody Mayweather fought. I mean, he's Pacquiao, you know what I'm saying? But Cotto fought him tougher. He had a tougher fight with Cotto. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao, he just used the skills. That's it. He just made a technical fight, slowed the pace down, and made Pacquiao miss, made him pay. But he wasn't trying to go for no knockout. I knew that wasn't going to happen. He wasn't going for no knockout. He just was going to outclass him, outpoint him, and make sure he doesn't get severely hurt by one of Pacquiao's big punches, which we all know he has. So if Mayweather would have went toe to toe and tried to debo him out of there, he probably would have got stopped. I mean, that's not a smart thing. They kept saying that, oh, it'd be foolish for Mayweather to exchange with him. Yeah, duh. Everybody who's tried to exchange with Pacquiao usually got clipped. So that's not smart boxing. When has Mayweather not fought using his head? So, I know his father wanted him to do more. His father wanted him to debo him out of there, but at the end of the day, Mayweather did what he needed to do to get the W. And to me, he won it easily. He won it easily. He was in tip-top shape. He boxed. And it was a great display of boxing, man. He continues this undefeated streak and on paper. But what they put in the record books is what it is, He's 48-0. We got one more fight left. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and see what all you guys think about the fight. I hope this video wasn't too long. It's your boy Ash. Yeah. And this was the super fight of our era, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I loved it. I waited 5 years for this. Even if it was a snoozer, man, I don't care, man. I waited long enough for this. The significance of the fight itself is what made it a good fight. You know what I'm saying? What I witnessed was what I thought was gonna happen the whole time, except when Mayweather first came back out of retirement and he hadn't fought a welterweight yet, and that was the time where Pacquiao was just mowing welterweight down. That's the time I thought Pacquiao had him. I thought Pacquiao should have been the favorite at that time. But when Mayweather beat Mosley, that's when I knew that Pacquiao could not beat Mayweather. But yeah, before he fought Mosley, I thought Pacquiao should have been the favorite. I needed to see Floyd face a legit welter at that time. And once he started fighting legit welters, I knew Pacquiao couldn't beat him. Credit to both guys, both of them first ballot Hall of Famers. Pacquiao did the anti-doping test, and he was still Pacquiao. He was still who he is. So I don't think I could say he ever. I don't know if I can stand that stand on the notion that he was doping in his career, because he took the test and he still looked like Pacquiao against a formidable Mayweather. I mean, his punches were still there, his speed was still there. I don't know if he ever did any wrongdoing. I don't know. I personally don't know. But all I do know is he took the test, the anti-doping test protocol for this fight, and he still was Pacquiao. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna accuse that man. I thought he had a good game plan, but he just could not find the target. and which is rare. Pacquiao usually gets to that target. He's so fast. But man, I could talk about this fight all night. I want to know what you guys think. Deuces to you.